Hey guys, Brian here with Get Out Fishing. One of the great things about fishing is it doesn't really take a lot of money to get started with fishing, which is really cool. Usually you can go out and get a fishing license for 15, 20 bucks in your state, and usually a rod and reel combo, borrow one from a friend or something like that, and get started pretty cheap with fishing. And usually there's a lot of public access fishing areas that you can get to and get out with friends or take your kids or your wife or something like that, and really have a good time. And that's kind of what this YouTube channel is about, just getting out fishing and enjoying being in the outdoors and spending time with people that you love. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money, and that's one of the reasons why I like the Ozark Trail Walmart baits so much, and I want to talk about them just a little bit today. I've got a few of them laid out here on the deck of the boat, and talk about them for just a second. But they're typically about half the price of the name brand Strike King lures and things like that. And so far this year, I've fished with them quite a bit, with the square bill crankbaits, the lipless crankbaits, and had pretty good success with them. I'll show you some footage of catching some different types of fish with them here in just a few minutes. Caught quite a bit of white perch this year, caught a few bass on them, caught a lot of big bass on the lipless crankbait early on when the spawn was happening. And recently the catfish have been hitting them pretty good at the lake where we typically fish. So I'll show you what I got laid out here and talk to you about them for just a second. So if you look at what we have laid out here on the deck of the boat, we've got the square bill crankbaits that have been a pretty big hit this year, and then in this column over here we have the lipless crankbaits, and then I'll show you, just for comparison purposes, what the Strike King lures look like alongside of them. I have both, and as you can see, especially with the Strike King versus the Ozark Trail, pretty similar in shape and design. Obviously, I think the Strike King probably has a little bit better paint job, better eyes on them and things like that. But the Ozark Trail baits come with eagle claw hooks on them, and so far they've held up pretty well. This blue color here in the middle is something that was very popular on the lake during the spawn. Caught quite a few big bass on that off the beds when they were spawning earlier this spring. As we've moved into the post spawn, this orange color square bill up here has been pretty popular. Have also caught several on this one down here at the bottom that is kind of the chartreuse and the white color. This middle one here I've just purchased. Haven't had much opportunity to use it just yet, but as you can see, the baits are pretty well made. I mean, they got good color to them, and got eagle claw hooks on them. No major flaws in them. They've held up pretty well. Like I said, this one right here has been a very popular color, this orange one. I've thrown this one quite a bit this year, caught quite a few fish on it. As you can see, it's holding up pretty well. The paint job's still good, and no major dings or scratches on it. So been pretty pleased with these baits this year. We pick them up at our local Walmart for about $1.97, as opposed to the Strike King lures, usually about 2 or 3 times that. So if you want to get out fishing and get something cheaper that you can use, it's a good way to get started and get a variety of baits. And it's kind of the situation that I found myself in earlier this spring. Hadn't been fishing in a while, and just getting back into fishing. I did not have as many baits as I would have liked in a variety, because as you well know, some days they're hitting a particular color, some days they're not, and they can get finicky depending on the day and the weather and the water temperature, things like that. And so I wanted to have several varieties, several colors, depending on what was working that day, and found the orange and the orange square bill and the blue lipless to be good most any day that I was out. Been pretty consistent catching fish with those two. have caught a few, I think, on this this silver color shad right here. So just a good way to get a variety of baits, pretty cheap cost, and they do hold up well. They seem to hold up well from my experience this year, and also relatively easy on the pocketbook. So if you get an opportunity to try them, I recommend them. I'll be buying more for sure. And here's some footage of seeing them in action out on the water. Fishing right there where I just went in, or something right around there. Right there. That's a darn catfish, Josh. Look at that. Darn catfish. Catfish hit a